We all go through life collecting experiences, right? But how often do we really stop and take stock of what they've actually taught us? Today, we're going to dive into a really personal inventory of insights, powerful lessons learned from things like failure, fear, and service. And what's amazing is how they reveal these profound truths about who we are and, maybe more importantly, what we're truly capable of.
I just love this. It's such a brilliant piece of self-deprecating humor, and it immediately sets the tone, doesn't it? It's a great reminder that real wisdom, it isn't always found in some high-minded theory. Sometimes it's just grounded in the simple, relatable stuff that shapes who we are.
And speaking of learning from experience, you have to hear the story. So, to disrupt a federal army, one guy was sent to remove wagon pins, while another drove off the horses. The only problem? He drove off all the horses, leaving his partner totally stranded. It's a perfect, almost slapstick example of how even the best laid plans can completely fall apart without good coordination. And that right there, that brings us to the heart of this whole idea. We talk all the time about counting our blessings, but what about inventorying our insights? The idea is that actively taking stock of the lessons life teaches us is just as vital for our own personal growth. So our first major insight, well, it starts with a feeling we all know: regret. But what if our biggest failures aren't really endings? What if they're actually redirections? Let's dig into how they can become the very things that spark our deepest aspirations.
All right, let's go back, way back to those tough mid-teen years. Imagine being short, kind of shy, and then you face that absolutely crushing disappointment of not making the basketball team, the team you've dreamed about your whole life. You can almost feel that, can't you? That feeling of being on the outside, just looking in.
And that whole experience leads to this really powerful realization: pawing through the past is not productive. It's just so easy to get stuck wondering, what if, right? But it doesn't change a thing. It just holds you back. It's a simple truth, but man, it is incredibly hard to live by when you're feeling that sting of failure.
So the lesson here is pretty clear. Focusing on what might have been completely blinds us to what still can be. And this image, it captures that new perspective perfectly. Those low points, those valleys of disappointment, they're not dead ends. They're just the starting point for the next big climb.
Now, let's take that idea of finding opportunity in hardship and just dial it way up. We're moving from teenage disappointment to a moment of literal life or death fear, and the profound spiritual insights that can come out of something that intense. The year is 1945. A young soldier is in a foxhole on Okinawa, and enemy artillery has finally zeroed in right on his position. Shells are landing closer and closer. The fear is just unimaginable. This is one of those moments where everything is about to change. And in that moment of intense, desperate prayer, something remarkable happened. The shelling just stopped. That sudden mercy, seen as a direct answer to his prayer, led to lifelong covenants and a deep, profound understanding of faith under fire.
This entire experience really boiled down to two massive insights. The first is this incredible sense of gratitude, a feeling that you can never ever truly repay such a blessing. And the second, it's an urgent need to believe in our own hidden potential, realizing that special opportunities are waiting for all of us if we're just open to them.
Okay, the next item in our inventory is all about the power of words, and maybe even more importantly, the power of their absence. We're going to explore the impact of praise, of criticism, and the totally underestimated power of silence. Just think for a second about the last time someone gave you specific, deserved praise. It's so much more than a compliment, isn't it? It's like a gift that confirms your worth and can open your eyes to possibilities you hadn't even seen in yourself. It's timely, it's tender, and honestly, it can be transformative. This story is an absolute masterclass in the power of holding back. By just resisting that urge to jump in and fix things, the speaker created this amazing space of trust. And that's what allowed his friend to find the courage to confess, to apologize, and ultimately to heal their relationship. This quote just perfectly captures the whole idea. Spiritual silence isn't emptiness at all. It's a school where real, genuine communication and new understanding can actually grow. It's in those quiet spaces that some of our most important connections are really made.
Okay, I absolutely love this next metaphor. It is such a sharp, insightful way to look at how work gets done versus how credit gets handed out in pretty much any organization. So, are you a workhorse or a show horse?
And here it is, the classic example of the show horse in action. A committee spends months doing the painstaking, tedious work of crafting a major bill. Then a senator who was absent for all of it just swoops in at the very last minute, just in time to stand in front of the TV cameras and take all the credit. I mean, the distinction here just couldn't be clearer, could it? You've got the workhorses buried in the details doing the actual labor, and then you have the show horses who just arrive for the photo op and take the bows. It's a dynamic we've all seen play out, and it raises a really good question about who's truly carrying the load. So what this really highlights is that in almost any group, progress really depends on a dedicated few. It's the workhorses who quietly set the pace, who manage all the details, and who ultimately allow the many to move forward. And that brings us right back to the central question of this whole explainer. We've looked at someone else's insights, from failure, from fear, from service. Now it's time to turn that inward. What are the key lessons sitting there in your life's inventory? So let's really bring this all home. The act of creating your own life's inventory, it isn't just some mental exercise. It's a process of discovering the profound, often totally untapped strength that lies deep within your own spirit. To really drive this home, just consider this incredible final example. Admiral Lord Nelson, one of the greatest naval commanders in history, was, physically, a wreck. He had one arm, one eye, was constantly seasick, and had a state of persistent nerves. By all accounts, he absolutely should have failed. But he didn't. And his story perfectly illustrates our final, massive takeaway. The human spirit has this unbelievable power to drive our bodies and our minds far beyond the limits we think are real. Those borders we see, they're not fixed. They are totally movable. So we end right where we began, with a challenge to you. If you actually take the time to inventory your own insights, to really look at your failures, your fears, and your triumphs, what powerful, border-breaking truths about yourself will you discover?